So today we'll cover the following topics on the subject of tips and tricks for the portal configuration. We will take a look at services and some very high-level ideas on how to publish services, some ideas for stylizing your services, we'll look at some configurations for bulletins, and we'll look at the upcoming knowledge feature for FAQs. We'll take a look at some basic portal administration for branding your self-service portal for your customers. We'll take a look at service request tickets and how a customer can view the status of a request ticket, some Wiki Markups, as well as the configuration for managers to view requests for her staff. We'll take a look at customer feedback, and as you know, feedback is essential to any service desk, as in one channel it monitors how effective your analysts are with dealing with your customers and the various degrees of character. And in this section, we'll take a look at how to configure feedback for the customer portal. We'll also have the opportunity to look at some additional applications, Docket Manager and live chat at a very high level. And finally, you have the opportunity to ask me any questions at the end of the session. So, as you can see on your GoToMeeting screen, you have a chat function. So at any point in time, please feel free to add your comments or questions, and we'll do our very best to address these at the end of the session. Services. So sometimes you may find that some services or some request tickets may be logged incorrectly against the wrong services via the self-service portal, or even if you've got some defined level of services, customers will still engage with you traditionally via the telephone or email channel. Whilst not 100% foolproof, there are some methods that you can use to better maximize the return of investment on your self-service portal configuration. So, in terms of the portal, the main thing about your services, the service name and catalog items should be very concise and clear. If you have, for example, a very high-level service name, such as IT support or HR support, then the underlying descriptions should be very clear to the customers as to what they are. For example, let's say you got your service is IT support and the catalog item contains 2 items, log an issue or log a request, then it should be very clear what they are. So customers are not logging incidents as service requests or vice versa. It has happened. So just be very clear in terms of descriptions as to what an incident is or what a service request is. This should be logical. I'm sure most of you know about this. However, if you've got very defined granular service names, for example, rather than IT support, HR support, you got desktop support, laptop support, network services, they are very, very granular. And in those services, you've got very defined level of catalog items. Then it's very, very important that these are defined, the definitions are quite clear. Otherwise, you don't want customers to log a desktop support on a laptop support, for example. So therefore, it's very, very clear and very important that you define your service names to be very clear, and also the descriptions. It can be quite trivial in terms of the whole scheme of configuration, but in my opinion, and from speaking to a lot of customers over the years, this is very, very important in terms of adoption of this self-service and making sure that it is indeed successful. So other approaches, so some customers may find that there's a lot of reliance on emails and telephone calls and not enough users on the portal. So sometimes it's just a kind of custom or so therefore there are some approaches. For example, I know some customers, they've removed the emails and telephone channels for approximately a certain period of time. So let's say about a week or a couple of weeks, so that customers are the only channel to log tickets is via the portal. And once customers get a taste of logging tickets, so then it's probably going to be the first thing in mind is to go to portal to raise tickets. So some customers have done this at a very successful rate. Another example, and this has been mentioned at our Insights event in June. So some of you may have already know about this or have been exposed to this piece of information. But when you do build your services or catalog items, then it may be worthwhile engaging a small pilot group of some of these customers for testing purposes, for the naming conventions, for ordering, just really kind of assist with the user experience side of things. And obviously with the testing, if, for example, the name's not clear, then you can also easily find out before you publish it to the wider audience. It's quite a nice approach to having a small subset of users that you trust within the organization to give you some good, clear feedback on the level of services. And finally, we are also going to provide, or would be good to provide, some user guides. So potentially a document, a nice poster, or you can create some how-to videos before you publish publish a new service or publish a set of services to your customers. So they're much more familiar with logging tickets on the portal. So there's some things to think about. We won't go too much in depth with services. As you appreciate, this is quite a complex topic, and we can talk a lot about this another time. But just to give you some food for thought in terms of publishing services and some tips in terms to maximize the better usage of the services. So we can take a look at some services in the system and look at some system settings in how to better define them. So as you can see here, this is my self-service portal, and I have quite a long list of services. I want to show you some icons in terms of making the icons bigger, having the maximum level of services displayed on your actual view. So first of all, if I go directly to my service portfolio in the application or the collaboration tool, so this is my list of all my services in the system. So I've got 25 in total. 20 of them are currently being used and logged by customers. So I'm going to go to my go-to service called IT Support. And just for those that makes it a bit more familiar, as I mentioned earlier about the service name and the service description becoming very clear. So this is the section, if you click on the edit button on your service screen, this is where you can also define the service name and the service description. So in terms of one of the quick wins is the icon. So by default, I've seen some customers I've implemented after looking at the instance a year's time. Some of them still use the default icons. So you've got the kind of the default cog or gear icon that's currently being used. So you do have, if you click on the icon button, around 41 pages of icons that you can select from. So there is an icon to cater almost any scenario. So you can just quickly search on any name. For example, if I just type in let's say piece laptop, it contains a laptop. If you want to have it for your laptop services or for your let's say IT support services, there's quite a lot of icons, and it'd be quite advisable for you if you use the default icons in your portal to change them to obviously a bit more customized icons. Because if you go onto a portal itself, you can see that majority of my icons are quite distinct. I've got two icons that are quite similar, so customers may potentially get confused in terms of selecting the correct service. So it's quite nice to go through those pages. There is rumors of a wiki, a forum page of one of our customers who've actually published all 41 pages, screenshots, but I couldn't find it. So if I do, then I'm sure I can feed that back to some of you guys. So I want to show you a couple of other icons that you can potentially utilize during the configurations of services. And the first one I'm going to show you is the icon size. So as you can see here, these icons, there's about a few services that I've got I can actually have access to. Now, if you want to make those icons smaller or bigger, then you can change the settings for the icon size, as well as the number of services that you can show at any one time in your portal page. To do that, you would need to go into the admin tool. So for those of you who've got the admin credentials, then you can go into administration, section, so admin.hornbill.com/your instance name. You would need to go into your application, Hornbill Service Manager, and within Service Manager you have a settings button. If you click on the settings button, there are some, so in terms of the actual setting, if you type in guest.service manager, and there's quite a lot number of settings that will be displayed for Service Manager. So the first one that we can utilize to change your icon size is guest.servicemanager.portal.home.icon size. So I don't expect you to remember this off by heart. There are some articles and potentially we can send you some information regarding some of these settings after this webinar. But if you also go into our wiki page, some of these icons are already set there as well. So if I want to make icons, you've got three settings, large, medium and small. So if I want to make, for example, my icon small, if I go on back to my portal page and refresh my screen, so press F5 to refresh, the icons obviously appear visibly smaller. So you can have a little play around with the actual icons. If you've got, for example, a lot of icons that's a lot of services that you display for your customers and you want to display them in obviously a bit more in one page, then you can obviously make those icons smaller using that setting. The second setting that I want to show you in terms of number of services shown. So some customers that I can see in my list here that I worked with, you've got kind of a small subset of services. This may not really matter to you, but other customers I know I can see on the list here. There's a couple here who've got basically around 50 to 100 services, and that could obviously be quite a lot of icons that can be displayed on your portal page, which can potentially intimidate customers when it comes to selecting a service. So there is a setting that you can also check, which is called default number of services to show. So if I just find this setting, quickly type this up. It is, yeah, just above here. So as you can see here, guest.servicemanager.portal.home, default number of services to show. And by default, I've got 20 services that I can show on my portal. So if I just change it to, let's say, 5, click the save button. And now if I refresh my screen, this will show me 5 services on my front page of my all my services section on the portal. And if you do want to see additional services, you need to click on more services, and obviously this will click every 5 services will be displayed at any one time in the system. So these are two good settings to have when it comes to displaying icons and icon size on the portal. If I make it, if I just default back to 20. And make it large. Okay, great. So in terms of the actual look and feel of the actual services that can be displayed on your portal, I'm now going to move across to service bulletins. So I know that some customers use this, I've actually demonstrated to them during this actual switch-ons or expert services sessions, but be quite a good idea because I think service bulletins look quite snazzy when it comes to the front end of the portal. So Bulletin provides the ability to create scrolling notifications, and you can push this out to a subscriber of a service. So I can see here, I've got my home page. If I just scroll back to my home page, that's my service portal home page. But some services, I've got some notifications. So if I just scroll this, so for the service called Link, I've got a notification that would advise my customers that there's an issue affecting link calls. So I want to show you how to create a quick bulletin and some information you obviously can put into a bulletin itself. So back to my list of services in the service portfolio. If I close this section here. And to create a bulletin, if you go to any service, you have a section called Bulletins on the second from last tab. If I click on Bulletins, I want to create a bulletin for my support, for my service called IT Support. So if I click on Add Bulletin Item, You can give it a title. So I'm going to give it a title. Today's title is going to be simply IT support unavailable. That's the title, and description due to staff training. Okay, that's obviously make it quite, because this is a bulletin, it should be a notification. Don't put War and Peace in there or an essay, just quick, simple statement should do. You can also upload an image as a background. So my recommendation for an image, don't make it too complicated. I know some customers love some really complex designs. Just make a simple border will do, like a block color will do, so that the information is out there for the customers. Then with the bulletin, you can also have a start date and an end date. So I can have this this support training is only going to be for 1 day. So therefore, you can start it today and end this tomorrow. If I just say, for example, if I start it, let's see, August, and end it in October. And once you add your start date, end date, by default, if you don't have a start date, end date, it will be there forever. But if I publish this now and click create, this now created with a solid grey color. And then if I refresh my portal, so every time you make it, by the way, every time you make a change to the backend settings, if you click on the F5, this should also be reflected immediately on your self-service portal. So click on F5, and somewhere down the line the new bulletin will appear. I'll just quickly forward this. You can see here, there you go, second one here. IT support unavailable due to staff training, and I think by default it takes the homepage image as a background for bulletins. So I'm now going to move on to FAQs. And FAQs, by now everyone in this attendee list should be able to create FAQs or basic FAQs at least. If you do not know how to do so, there are some good wiki examples that you can use to set one up. But what I want to do, I want to show you a new feature. It's currently in beta stage, which is called the Knowledge Center. And this enables customers, if they type in some keywords into a summary field, or if an analyst types in a keyword in the summary field, then there's some potential solutions that may appear from in the actual screen. So to enable this setting, this is still in beta mode, and there are some potential further work that needs to be done. So if you do have any feedback for this particular feature, then please let us know, and via the forums. I'm sure there's something we can obviously improve over a period of time. So to activate this particular feature, you would need to go on to, again, the settings for Service Manager. And this time I'm just going to put in here experimental. So if I just go on to my settings, and I'm going to put in a Knowledge Center. Okay, so by default, this is, for me, it's turned on because I was playing around with it, but you should always activate guest.app.experimental.hornbill knowledge center. If you turn this one on, and if you turn off the same settings for the service and for the user. So basically, this turns off the actual functionality. If you choose guest.app.knowledge.service, this turns on the functionality for your customers to go onto the self-service portal and obviously see solutions. And secondly, for users, this enables you to activate this for your actual analysts. So if they type in a keyword, then the potential solution can potentially appear as well. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to go on to the service portal. It's going to go to service, go to IT support, and if I do report an issue, I'm going to just log a ticket. I'm going to say it's going to be due to an Outlook issue. So click on software, just do Office, Outlook, click next. And in my summary box, so if you watch very carefully on the panel itself, I type in Outlook issue. You'll notice on the right hand side for the customer, there are a couple of, let's say, 2 new buttons or tabs have appeared. So this one is FAQs, and this one is catalog items that relate to Outlook. So if I click on FAQs, the customer, they can click on the FAQ section. They can see there are 5 potential solutions that can help them resolve the ticket themselves. So you can see here, the question could be, how do I view a shared calendar in Outlook? They can click on this particular FAQ. Just have a step-by-step instructions for the actual customer to to try and resolve it themselves. So this is quite a new feature that's really has appeared. As you can see, it's still in beta mode, so it's not the finished article yet, and we're still gauging some customer feedback. So if you do have any feedback on this feature, for example, you may want to have some of the buttons appear in certain places, or if it's not intuitive enough, or some improvements, please let us know via the forums, and I'm sure this can be passed across to our dev team, and they can potentially rework some of the functionality here. So this is our knowledge center. Same thing can also work for the analyst. So if the analyst goes into the collaboration tool, logs a ticket, and they enter some keywords into the summary field, like I did here, then this will appear as well for them, and they can potentially solve tickets while they're on the phone to a customer. So hopefully that is a new feature that you like, and please do turn that experimental feature on, and yeah, I'm sure you have some good feedback for us going forwards. Okay, so I'm now going to discuss the next topic is the portal administration. So in this section, I'm going to discuss some logos and homepage images that you can administer on your portal, some areas or system settings for colors and branding for your icons, and with potentially some, for example, your status has gone down, how to obviously change the color of statuses, and also favorites. So some customers, you may have a bunch of different services. Customers may find it's not worthwhile to search for them, so therefore you can have them as favorites. So customers, when they log into the portal, they'll have access to all the services that they log frequent tickets for. So if I move on to the config, so first of all, I'm going to take a look at the actual logo itself. So in terms of the logo itself has to be HTTPS. So I noticed that some customers during the switch-ons or expert services, there are some the logo disappeared because you put it on, you got a public-facing logo that's not HTTPS, therefore it's not picked up the actual image. So the settings for the portal administration are configured via administration tool, but not in Service Manager this time. If you go on to the home page, and if you go to Home, System, Manage Portals, and there's quite a different, there's 2 portals that we give out the box to customers. We've got the Customized Service Portal, and we have the Customized Customer Portal. So the difference between the 2, so if looking at the customer list today, we've got some customers that manage external customers and some customers that are pure internal IT. So we have 2 portals. The Service Portal is typically for your internal customer base, otherwise known as basic users. And these customers are typically part of your LDAP structure or your Active Directory. The Customer Portal, so this entry point, customer.hornbill.com, this, if you manage external customers or suppliers, then you can have a separate portal with separate branding for these customers to log tickets elsewhere. So you may have, for example, a set of services for internal customers. Just like at Hornbill itself, we have obviously support for our internal IT staff. So we've got reception, we have marketing, finance, who log tickets for our internal systems. But then we also support Hornbill as well as a product. So therefore, you are going to be customers. You enter the customer portal and you log tickets via that section, and that's got a different branding. Obviously, we try and make it a bit more nicer than what we have internally. So if I go, today we're going to focus more or less on the service portal. So if you go to Customize Service Portal, and you should be familiar with this particular section. And I'm going to give you some basic information on some of the configurations, or the most important ones. So the logo, I've got the default logo, but it should be HTTPS. Okay, so therefore, if it's not, then obviously the system will not pick up that image. So as I mentioned, often customers pull up images. You go onto your website, right-click, get the image URL, paste it. But sometimes you may find that the actual URL has actually disappeared. Therefore, the branding is gone. So we recommend often also the images. On your website, they may not be high resolution images. So therefore, when it goes to your actual portal, it looks a bit grainy and pixelated. So my recommendation would be, if you've got a marketing department who basically has a repository of all your high resolution images, you may want to publish this onto a image store somewhere, and then from there you can upload that high resolution image onto your portal. Simply just, for example, ImageGar and paste like that. And if you just copy and paste that logo here, save changes, and that reflects your new logo. Sometimes when you enter your logo, if I look at my service portal, my logo is quite reasonable sized. But if you find that obviously it's quite a minuscule logo, it does happen, or if it's too big, then you can use the logo height. You can actually enter, let's say, number, or you can obviously click on the up and down arrows to make it bigger or smaller. So the next thing is your home page image. So some customers I've noticed as well is when you go on, again, this is not after switching, but let's say a year's time when you go back to portal, your home page screen image is still that desert icon. So the one that we've shipped out the box. So it might be worthwhile getting some new images or crisper images, and it's not. Potentially you may have difficulty obtaining images from your marketing department. You may not have a marketing department. So there are some resources that you can actually utilize to get some high quality stock images that are free for corporate use. So myself personally, I did a recent design for a customer portal, and we used some really crisp images. And the resource that I use for picking images is one that I really like, called pexels.com. So if you're going to Google and type in Pexels, and it's free stock photos that you can use for corporate use. And this contains a repository of many images that are, majority of them are quite high quality images. And and these are also HTTPS. So for example, I want to use, let's say this coffee icon here. If I right click, open image in new tab, that's my image URL. I simply copy that image URL and I paste it onto the homepage image section. And if I paste that, save changes, and then if I go back to my service portal and if I refresh my screen, that's my new homepage image. And Pexel.com is quite commonly used in web design. Web designers really use this because the stock itself, they're really high quality images and quite high resolution. So again, it's good if you don't have a marketing department. This is a good resource, free resource to use for making your portals look a bit more cleaner. If you, some customers may not want to demonstrate or display the social media information. So as you can see here, we've got our Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube and Facebook displayed. Now, if you don't have any of this social media content or don't wish to publish it to your customers, then simply, and this not only applies to the social media content, but also any other sections where you want to hide the text. So you don't want to display your main image text as the Hornbill service portal or the section titles. Then if I want to remove, for example, the YouTube ID, simply delete what's the container within there, put a 0, and click Save Changes. If you go back to your portal now, my YouTube link is there. If I refresh my screen, because I put a 0 in that section, my YouTube section is now gone. So that's a quick win. Just put a 0 into the section you want displayed, and that will hide the content. By default, when you get your when Hornbill shipped out to you, or you may not unless you know the information about the logos, so you may have the default blue logo contained in your portal. You may want to have these logo colors branded to your corporate image. So you may have, for example, I've got a customer whose logo is quite a various colors, and they're quite neon colors as well. So it was quite hard to find the color palette, and I discovered this really good resource that can get the HTML color palette automatically. Now, if you've got a marketing department and they have the color HTML color section, then obviously you can get that the actual code and paste it into a relevant section. But if you do not have the color palettes at hand, then there's a good resource that you can use. So I want to change, for example, these logos or these icons into one of my Hornbill colors. I want to turn it into a red color, for example. So what I'll do is I have a really good resource called Image Color Picker. So go to imagecolorpicker.com, and this resource is really good. We can actually upload the URL of your image, and it will tell you the actual the color palette code. So if I go onto my Hornbill website, and if I get this image, copy image in new tab, that's my image URL. If I copy this image URL and paste it onto imagecolorpicker.com, this website URL here. If I click on the button Take Image, this will process the Hornbill logo. I can see this is quite small. It might be worthwhile getting a bigger image. Now, if I click on any part of that logo, for example, this red color here, it takes me on the left-hand side of the panel, the actual color, and it's got the HTML code next to it. So you have to obviously use the color palette or shade to pick up that color. So I'm going to copy this color icon or code, copy that. And what I want to do, I want to have two settings. I want to change the text and I want to change the icon color. So if I go back to my application settings for Hornbill, so it missed not in the admin section, in the admin tool, but not in the system settings. If I go to Home, Hornbill Service Manager, and if I go to Settings, and the two settings that I need to use, I'll just use guests dot color. That doesn't like to pick that one up. Maybe if I put the U in there, that's better. So yes, not American American word. So the one I want to use is common icon and icon title. So as you can see here, you've got your color code for icons is a default blue. If I click on this color.common.icon, and if I remove the values in there, if I paste my new color picked up from imagepicker.com, save that. I'll do the same thing for my icon title. Click that, click save. And there's quite a lot of other settings in the system as well. So you can obviously change the actual color of the service names, the common text. Let's just change that one as well. And so basically just type in your system settings, guest.color, and this will bring up all the color information. So one that's quite good to use, impacted. So when you have an impacted service, for example, you may want to have that displayed in a separate color. Also counter badge as well. So when you go onto Portal and you've got, for example, number 9 displayed, you may want to display that in a different color. So you can obviously change the different color settings for the icons. So I added my settings and the color codes. If I just refresh my screen, that changes the color. Obviously, there's a bit more work to be done for my portal, but as you can see here, this changes the colors for my icons in the portal based on the Hornbill logo. Obviously, using Image Picker, I didn't need to go to my marketing department. It's a quick win by using that website to get the relevant colors that matches my marketing and branding. So finally, onto the portal administration as well. As you can see on my homepage, as a customer, I've got a favorite section. So if you've got, let's say, for example, about more than 20 to 30 services, and maybe quite a long time for customers to spend looking for the correct service, then you can potentially advise your customers that if I use, for example, the mobile service on a regular basis, then I can make this a favorite, and this will appear on my favorite section going forward. Okay, that's a nice, quick, easy one to do. All right, so moving on, I'm now going to discuss the service request config. So back to my presentation. So I'm going to be discussing the heads-up display, the wiki markups, the resolution targets, and manager's view. So with the system, if I, as a customer, if I go onto the desktop support, if I go to my request that I've logged for desktop support, if I click on any ticket, this has a heads-up display, which means that the customers can view the actual status of the ticket rather than phoning you up for advice, obviously, of what's happening with the ticket. So to activate this particular head-up display, you need to go onto a service. So if you go to IT support service, if you go to the request config section, and each request type, so instance, I want every instance logged for IT support to have stages and checkpoints. If I want to turn it off, then obviously turn it off. If I just want to show the stages, then this won't show the individual checkpoints. If I want to display both the checkpoints and the stages, that's going to be a system setting for that. I also want to display the wiki markups as well. So wiki markups is, at the moment, I can see the text in the system, in your request timeline, for example. They are all kind of similar font. But you may want to display some information, for example, bold, italics, some other are in red or in bullet points. So I'm going to show you some quick examples that you can use in Progress Capture, for example. So if I go on to my Progress Capture, I've got one set up already. So go to my Progress Capture, and if I go to my mobile issues, one that I've want to use, because that's got a customized form in there. And I'm going to show you some examples of wiki markups that you can use, not only just in a Progress Capture, but also in a timeline as well, if you want to communicate back to the customer via timeline. So click on the edit button, and in my custom field, I've got a description section, and if I click on this, I want to add some custom fields. So I want to say, for example, if we want to make a bold statement, so say bold. So bold is basically, let me just make this a bit more bigger. So bold is 3 speech marks left, put your text in the middle, and then obviously the 3 speech marks afterwards. Italic is 2. If you want to make bullet points, put a star and put bullet point. And finally, for my color section, I'll put this particular statement. I've copied and pasted from Notepad because it doesn't roll the tongue quite easily. So if I click on this one here, and basically span style color dot red. So this information, if you go into a wiki and search for wiki markups, then there is a comprehensive guide on wiki markups. But this is a quick demonstration of how you can use it within a Progress Capture custom form. So if I just change the wording, so first choose change color. So I've got basically 4 examples of wiki markups that you can use. Click on apply. In my description, click apply settings. I'm going to save this and activate it. And this is the mobile issue service. Okay. So if I refresh my portal, and if I go to my services and mobiles, and if I go to my mobile issues service, as you can see here, you have your Progress Capture. Underneath my details of issue, I've got the bold text, italic, bullet point and also the color change. So for example, as a description, I want the details of issue to really stand out. I can make it in bold, or italic, or in a different color. Obviously in this case, red. That's Wiki Markups. And then there's a couple of other settings. So I'm going to show you the resolution targets. If you want to publish your resolution targets for your customers, then the system setting is called, if I just type in resolve. So you have a setting called guest.app. This one here, guest.com actually. Guest.com, show resolve by date. And what this means is that in the portal, currently by default, you don't show the resolution information to customers. If you want to show resolution information, that's going to be displayed. So you can, if you go to as a customer, my home, all my requests. If you go to any requests, the resolve by date is now displayed. So you got the expectation set with the customer as to when this will be resolved by, and that's a system setting. And then, as a in some of your organizations, you may have you may want managers to view the requests for your staff. So in this case, Graham Clark is a manager, and he wants to see all of his staff's requests. So Anna Bishop, and there's another guy, Tom Brown, in my demo kit, who also log tickets, but Graham Clark wants to view their tickets. So system setting for viewing your staff requests. First of all, there must be a manager association to a customer. So for example, if you've got Anna Bishop as one of my demo customers, in her user profile, the manager field must be filled in, and if it's not filled in, then the manager obviously will not be able to see as request ticket. So make sure you do have that applied if you do want to use this feature. But if I just type in guest.com, so Service Manager Portal, and go directly to the actual system setting. So the actual setting is Service Manager portal requests, and so slowly going by, there's quite a lot of the system requests here, and requests and show stuff. There you go. So Service Manager portal.requests show staff requests, and this setting, when you turn it on, if you got the manager association to a customer, then it enables the manager to see all of their managed staff requests. So as Graham Clark in the portal, he is a manager, and he's got 2 members of staff under his command. So what I will see is under all my requests, as a manager, you have, instead of just my requests showing, you've got a second drop down called My Staff Requests, and you can see that Graham Clark can now see Anna Bishop's and Tom Brown's request ticket as well under his request view in the self-service portal. Okay, that's how you associate manager associations to a customer. So the next topic I want to discuss is the customer feedback. Okay, so my slideshow is there. Okay, so I want to show you how to set up star ratings and set up custom questions per service. So when you resolve or close a ticket, when you close a ticket, then this will appear for the customer on the self-service portal. So if I go to service, and if I choose, for example, again, IT support, and underneath the service, you've got instant, you've got different request types. So every time I log a ticket for IT support and it's an instant, then I want to have some feedback enabled to the customer. So in each service, under each request type, you have the section called customer feedback, and you can enable star ratings. So if I click on enable star rating, then this is now enabled, and when you close a ticket, then it will appear for the customer awaiting feedback, and they have the ability to actually give some feedback to you when the ticket is closed. The second section is enable questions. So at the moment it's turned on, and you can enable some questions. So for example, how did my analyst perform? Are you happy with the service created? These are some custom questions that you can do per service. So service A can have different questions to service B. So in this case, customer feedback, I want to add some couple of questions, add question, and my first question is, are you happy with the analysts? If you spell that correctly, analyst and list. And then in your type, you can choose to have a single line. You can have a box, so a bigger box for bigger answers. You can use it from a pick list, so a drop-down select box. Also a checkbox for multiple choice select questions, and some buttons as well. So if I click on single line text box, click create. So what's going to happen now is when this ticket for IT support is closed via the portal, there should be a new button that appears. At the moment I don't have any questions for waiting feedback, but this enables me to have the option as a customer to click on a button that says yes, 5-star rating, or give some information about the actual ticket to assist with for the support guides. That's how you add the customer feedback configuration for the portal. I know I'm conscious of the time, so I want to quickly go over the next couple of topics at a very high level, just to show you obviously what they can do. So I'm going to talk a bit more about live chat and Document Manager. So you may have noticed in my actual portal, I have basically a little kind of a Hornbill icon at the bottom. That's Harry Hornbill, and it's got basically a start chat box. So live chat application, this plugs into Service Manager, and this provides real-time communication to successfully engage with your end users. Bit more personal method, or another method to support your tickets. So rather than emails or a telephone, you can engage your customers directly via the interface. And there's a role that you need to associate to the user accounts, so i.e. your analysts, and secondly for your customers, you can raise tickets via the chat portal. So you may not want some customers to raise tickets that may misuse it. But anyway, if we go into the section, the configuration section, if we go to admin home, and I've got live chat enabled. If you go to roles, and you've got 4 different roles. So if you want to give your agents who are able to support your staff via the live chat, then chat session agent is the role that you need to give to them. And if you want your customers to be able to raise tickets or speak to agents via the portal, then you must give them the portal chat session user. So these 2 can be given. I've not got it set up fully. You can see here if I start the chat, then this all needs to be connected to an agent. I need to have a separate agent to connect to and have the discussion. But obviously once someone accepts, then obviously you can have that communication with the customer. So this one is a paid for application, and there's a cost associated to this particular application going forward. But Docket Manager is a free application, and this enables you to publish documents to your customers. So again, as you can see on my portal, I've got a section called My Documents, and as a customer, you're able to publish, for example, you may have some HR documents or IT policy. As a read-only basis, you can publish these guides in the form of libraries to your customers on a read-only basis. So if I go to the role or the application Document Manager settings, so what is it called? Hornbill Document Manager. Go to roles, and there's a role that you need to enable to your portal users. So this is called My Library Portal. This gives access to the portal account to access Document Manager, and then you've got My Library User, and if you want to obviously manage documents, then you should have the My Library Manager or Document Manager. And once you publish a document to the library, if we go to a document that I already have published in the system, I'm going at a very high level. So if you do want to have more information, then we can arrange that via one of your Premier credits or potentially another webinar later on in time. So if I go to my libraries, and this library here, I want to go to management reports. I may want to share this with a group or a role. So my library portal, so anyone who's got this role assigned to them, my library portal can now see this document or this library with all the management reports in there. So if I just refresh, I think I've got that already anyway in the system, but click on management reports. All the management reports that are basically published can be viewed by me as a customer, but what I can't go in there and edit documents or make comments about documents. Is purely a read-only basis. Okay, so that's basically Docket Manager plugin to the portal, and you may find these two may be useful for your user experience for your portals. So in terms of just to kind of summarize these two apps, you may have your Active Directory sync enabled, and by default you've got two roles in there, basic user role and a self-service user role. Now if you want to have all your customers have these two roles, the new roles for live chat, if you want to apply that, or Document Manager, then you may want to add those two roles to your Active Directory settings and synchronize it to get those roles enabled for your customers as well. So that's something to think about going forward. So that concludes my presentation on tips and tricks for the portal. So I want to thank everyone for their time today, and hopefully it's given you some food for thought into enhancing your portal experience for your customers. And I'm now available for some questions. So I can see my chat panel has a lot of questions. So let's start off first of all. How do I open this chat panel? Sarah? Okay, yeah, I'll just drag and drop. Okay, I can't see the screen. That was a long time ago. Let's start from the. So, is this session being recorded? And can we be provided with that after the session? Yes, this session is recorded. So I've mentioned quite a lot of settings and quite a lot of links. So I'm not expecting you to memorize those. So we're going to edit this content and publish those links and give them to you. So please do keep your eyes peeled for that recording. So yes, they will be recorded. So thank you for that question. Is there a way to categorize FAQs or reorder after creation? Yep, common question. So at present, it is not possible to categorize FAQs at the moment. It's something that's, I would recommend adding that as a feature to our forums for the attention of our development team. So at the moment, it's not possible to categorize the FAQs. The only way they categorize it obviously against the services that they are applied to. FAQs seem to slow the portal if many exist per service. How does the inclusion of images affect this? I'm not really aware of that, to be honest, because like I said, for me personally, because I use a demo instance and I don't really create that many FAQs. So if you do encounter any performance issues due to uploading of images or the number of FAQs, then I would potentially make that for the attention of our support guys. As I know you're on the Premier plan, so you're able to log a ticket with our support team, and they can potentially look at the debugging tools to actually see the performance when you do obviously access the FAQ when you access the service. So I ask you to please raise a ticket with our support guys, and we can obviously get the relevant channels to look into this particular issue. So thank you for that question. Hi, what is the advantage of using FAQs rather than known errors for common issues? The advantage for using FAQs is that you are able to search for the FAQs via this portal, and secondly, with the new Knowledge Center feature that's coming out, obviously this is based on the FAQ. So you've got a very robust and comprehensive FAQ. Then when you enter some keywords into the summary field as a customer, then obviously there's some potential solutions that you can utilize, and that's what I would say is a benefit for using FAQs. It's straight information straight away, known errors. There's a bit more time trying to identify known errors, and then obviously publishing it. It's not searchable as well, as robust as the FAQs. That's my kind of feedback on FAQs. Can we limit feedback to certain regions or based on other criteria, i.e. custom fields? Can we limit feedback to certain regions? So you want to limit the customer feedback on certain customers. At the moment, it is free for all. So your feedback, if you activate it, you have to send it to all the customers. So every customer will receive feedback upon closure. So my question to you is, why would you want to limit feedback to certain regions or criteria? What's the kind of the driver behind it? So why wouldn't you want to have feedback from everyone? And if you do want to limit it, the only way I can think of it, or really kind of make it a bit more robust, is via the BPM. So you can potentially send some questions or surveys out upon closure to customers based on certain decision branching in the business process, and send it out to customers. So I want to know a bit more about your reasoning behind it, because it's quite interesting to know why you want to limit feedback to certain people in your organization. Okay, so just waiting for other questions coming up. So live chat. How much is live chat? So in Hornbill, you have the App Store, and you can see. So obviously Hornbill is priced for life. So if you go to Add More Apps section, it shows you the cost per app. So at the moment, live chat is £6 per month per agent. And if you obviously buy it, if you increase the price, then you're locked in if you purchase it upon the price for life scheme that we run. So it's £6 per month per agent. Docket Manager is free now. So if you haven't installed it, then please install it. Otherwise, if you do increase the price for it later on, then you have to obviously pay for it later on. So please do install a Docket Manager, as well as other free applications, and have a little play around, and yeah, just play around with it. How do you add a manager association to a user? So this is, I know we're running out of time, so I've got the final question. So but within Active Directory, there is a manager field, so you can add a manager, the actual manager field, into the script itself. But if you don't have the Active Directory sync enabled, or you don't want to, then the field that you must be comfortable with is system org data. If you go to any user, let's say I want to go to, let's say Dunk, don't know who Duncan is, but let's do Greg Johnson. And Greg Johnson, he doesn't work for us, by the way, it's a stock image picture. Go to About section, and you've got a section, a field called Manager. So when you enter Select Manager, if I put Graham Clark in there and save changes, now Graham Clark is the manager of Greg Johnson, and any ticket Greg logs into the portal or via the phone, Graham Clark can go onto his portal and see the tickets raised by Greg Johnson. So hopefully that answers your question. I know there's a few more additional questions. Let me have there's quite a few. So can you provide okay, there's a few more questions. I know we've run out of time, and I will answer those questions after this session personally to the customers. So I do have to cut this short because we've run out of time. But again, I want to say thank you very much for your time today, and hopefully you found this session very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadeem, for taking us through that presentation. I hope everyone found it useful. If you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact me or your relationship manager. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.